If you have a bloated stomach, it might not be from what you think it is. Stay tuned for my solution. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
RX Television, RxMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Whatever is on your mind, be it bodybuilding or non-bodybuilding, we have you covered. We're going to go right. Actually, before we go to the questions, we actually have a sale from our good friends at Titan Medical. Let me just pull it up real quick. It's a blood work special, Dave, at Titan. It is an end-of-year sale. Male blood work, which is typically at $200, they're going to slash it down to $130. Female blood work, which is usually $300, they're going to do for $200. So Titan Medical stepping up big once again. Dave, an end-of-year blood special.
Well, this is good because a lot of guys are doing their detox now. They're doing their clean out. And a lot of people don't have health insurance. Quite frankly, these hormone panels are very expensive. And, Titan Medical is doing a great service by offering these things at a very discounted rate. Believe me, if I didn't have health insurance, or if I didn't want my doctor, whatever, for whatever reason, didn't want to see it, I would go there, because that $130 for a full male panel with all the testosterone and all those hormones, those are expensive. Go source it. Go to Quest online and see how much it would cost you. It's a great deal. And obviously, then once you get your blood work back, if you want to do any kind of hormone therapies or any vitamin stuff, you can just, or you want to do fat loss, snacks with them, you can do that. And now you're registered with them, and it's a great way to end the year. A lot of people have their own resolutions. They want to lose weight, or they want to gain muscle, and they really just don't know they don't have a baseline of where they're starting from. So this is a great opportunity. Contact TitanMedicalCenter.com. Tell them RxMuscle Dave Palumbo sent you. You're going to get that great blood work discount.
So again, visit TitanMedicalCenter.com. Tell them RxMuscle. Tell them Dave Palumbo sent you, and you can take advantage of this discount. And again, with their end of year blood work special, so take advantage. TitanMedicalCenter.com. Let's go to the questions. The first two questions on the show from the Dave Palumbo Experience app, available on the iPhones. What do you call that thing? Is the App Store, right? I'm
the App Store, yes,
yeah. I'm one of the rare Android users. Google Play, so whichever of the iPhone or Apple or Android, whichever one you have, Dave Palumbo Experience. So the first question,
it's a great stocking stuffer for people. $29 a month, you get me as your coach in your back pocket. All my videos, articles I've ever written are there. All my protocols, off-season, pre-contest, drug stacks, detoxes. We put up a workout every week. I do a Q&A video exclusively for the app members every single week. Every week. I never skip. And we also do, I answer everyone's questions in an open forum there. So everyone sees everyone's questions, everyone's answers. It's a great learning tool. And we're always putting new stuff up there. So you guys might want to.
Basically like a more exclusive version of Ask Dave.
That's right. That's right.
Parallel universe episode of Ask Dave. All right.
Yeah.
So the first question on this episode of Ask Dave from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Thoughts on eating salmon with and without the skin?
I like it with the skin. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do it either way. Some people just don't like the skin. What I do is there's several ways I'll eat it, but there's some ways I'll put macadamia nut oil in a pan, and I'll sear it, and I'll put some spices on it, and I'll cook the side with the skin, a little longer so it gets crispy, and I really like that. The other way I'll do it is almost like a sushi grade. Like if I go to a restaurant, I'll tell them I want it grilled and I want it like just almost raw, basically. I want it rare, and they'll just sear it on each side a little bit, and I still think it tastes just as good. If you ever go to a sushi restaurant, and you see salmon skin salads or salmon skin, what they do is they take the skin, they cut it like with there's like a little bit of salmon still on it, but it's mostly the skin, and they put it in the toaster oven and they toast it, and it becomes like crunchy so you can bite it, and they cut it into strips and they'll put it on a salad. It's usually called the salmon skin salad. A lot of times it's over seaweed also. I'll ask them to put seaweed salad and the salmon skin on top of that. It's unbelievable, and it's really good for you because it's got all those omega-3 fatty acids in there that you want. Now, obviously, a lot of salmon is farm-raised, so you're not going to get quite the amount that you would normally get in a piece of wild caught. But when I go to the supermarket, when I go to like Publix or something like that, a lot of times they'll have a nice long piece of like sockeye salmon, and I'll buy that frozen, and I cut it up, and I make, I usually cut it into like 6-ounce pieces, and I'll make it that way. And that is all wild caught. I mean, that's all omega-3 fats in there. So the skin is where the good stuff is. If you're dieting, however, on a limited macro diet, you might want to take that into account. But usually if I'm giving someone salmon, it allows the skin.
Second question, again, these first two questions from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Since Mounjaro acts as an agonist on GIP receptors, which are also promoting fat storage, does that make it a bad choice for people on a competition diet? Would Ozempic, only GLP-1 agonist, be a better solution for that purpose?
Yeah, so this is a point that a lot of people don't understand. Ozempic is just a GLP-1 agonist, meaning that the glucagon-like peptides it stimulates those receptors, which slows the digestive tract, curbs appetite, does all the things that we know. Tirzepatide, which is the Mounjaro, stimulates both receptors. So it stimulates the GLP-1 receptors, which do the same thing, inhibit appetite, slow digestion, promote fat loss somehow. They don't really know how, but it does. And then the GIP receptor, which is the insulinogenic, the glucose insulinogenic receptor, what it's really doing is it's stimulating. It was originally called the gastric inhibitory peptide receptor because it blocks hydrochloric acid release in the stomach to some degree, but it also enhances insulin production from the beta cells. So it's really good for people who run slightly high blood sugars because it causes more insulin release, not excessively. Now, theoretically, it has a fat storage effect, but it's so minor that compared to all the benefits of it, which is also appetite suppression, better utilization of glucose, meaning that it somehow causes you to burn fat by more effectively storing glucose and not causing excessive insulin release. So when you use Mounjaro, and people who've used Mounjaro versus Ozempic, they get better fat burning effects from the Mounjaro. So there's a reason. So the small potential, fat storage effect of GIP is greatly overridden by all the benefits of GIP. So, and also, like I said, if you run slightly high blood sugars, GIP stimulation is really good because it helps you lower blood sugars. So a lot of people don't even need to take any insulin with it or any other drugs with it. The Mounjaro gets the blood sugar down. It causes fat loss. It stops appetite. It does everything, and that's why that's all the rage right now. It's a much more effective fat loss. Can you use it when you're dieting? Yes, as long as you don't miss meals. So if you have 5 meals a day as a woman you're eating, if you're eating your 5 meals a day and you're taking that and it's preventing you from cheating in between meals, great job. If you take it and start missing meals and you're only getting 3 meals a day, yeah, you might lose weight faster, but you're going to lose muscle too. So don't use it as a way to not eat. Use it as a tool so that you don't cheat or eat between meals and you stick just to the meals that you're supposed to be eating.
So we're going to go to now our Instagram, YouTube community questions, Facebook questions, all our different platforms where we solicit questions from you, the audience. Before we go to, I guess, the platform questions, a lot of people have been asking, obviously, since yesterday, the NPC making the announcement of a new division called the Fit Model Division. Now, Dave, you were going to do a dedicated video to this, a full reaction video to this new division. If you wanted to give maybe a little primer as far as what fans can expect, as far as your thoughts are concerned.
Yeah, I don't like to lash out too quickly, because I like to think about these things when, because I know a lot of people are outraged by it. They think it's a money-making thing. They think it's unnecessary, and they may be right. Look, when you're running a business, there's always a business component to everything you do. So I'm sure there's business motivation aspect of this, but if there's other organizations out there holding a fit model division, then the NPC IFBB, being the premier, competing division, physique division or physique organization in the world, has to address that. I understand that from a business perspective. I think where they can get bogged down with this division and it could backfire on them is if they make it too complicated. Now, what do I mean by that? And I'm going to talk about this in what I'm going to do a little rant later. I think that it should be one division, no height classes, no weight classes. It's an introductory model division. It should be one class and then maybe a 40 and over for master. So you have two classes. If you only have two classes in the whole show, I don't care how many girls are in it, then great. Then it's going to go fast. It's not going to make the shows last longer. You'll do what you've accomplished, what you're trying to do, which is get a introductory physique into the competition scene, right? Someone that's not necessarily ready for bikini yet, but wants to compete and has a beautiful physique, has a small waist, whatever the case may be. That's what it is. You don't need a junior division. You don't need a novice division, because it in of itself is a novice division, essentially. It's a novice bikini division, what it really is. And it'll have its own criteria. So I think from a business perspective, it made sense for Tyler to do that. I think as long as they don't let it become a monstrosity where it's going to strangle the shows and how fast they go, I think it'll be great. Not everyone needs to do it. If there's a lot of girls in the division, great. That's the way it works. You know what I mean? Sorry, it's competitive. But I think that's the way they should do it. But I'll talk about it more later in my rant.
Question about V-taper. Your recommendations to get a V-taper from the front and the back.
V-taper is an illusion. Okay, what that means is it's the smaller your waist and the wider your shoulders, the more V-taper you have, right? So I know a lot of people nowadays, they didn't do this back in my day because no one knew about this, wear they're essentially corsets. They're waist shapers. They call them a million different things. And to try to get their waist smaller, and they do work if you wear them all the time. Obviously, training your abs will get them in better shape, but it won't necessarily make your waistline smaller. The only thing that can make it smaller is these corsets that these people are wearing, and the girls do a very good job on it. I don't know how they survive in those things, because you have to wear them all the time, basically. A better solution, or an easier, or not, maybe not easier, but probably a healthier solution would be to make your delts bigger, right? So if you bring out your delts and bring them wider, you're going to create a better V-taper. Now, obviously, having a nice back, lats that come out wide too, also creates a better V-taper as well. So what we're basically saying is keep the waistline small, bring the shoulders out, bring the lats out. And I'll tell you something, I've been watching guys and girls sending me training videos, and some of them are terrific, and some people just don't have a feel for the exercises. So they're going through the exercises. They know all the exercises they should be doing. They're just not executing them properly. A lot of back rowing movements, people are using their traps too much. They're lifting up, and that's taking away from the lats doing the work and the lower lats, working. That's a big mistake a lot of people make. Not doing like one-arm rows where they can, isolate those lower lats is a big mistake. I think too much machine work. The machine work will give you nice detail in your back, but it's not going to give you width, okay? And it's not going to give you thickness. You really need to do the free weight bent over rows, one-arm rows, seated rows. Those are going to really bring in that. And also doing partial reps is doing no help for you as well. Doesn't matter how much weight you pull if you're not pulling it in a full range of motion. So these things will all help with V-taper.
So you teased this at the top of the broadcast, and that is dealing with a bloated stomach. Obviously, this is a topic that's right up your alley, one that you're very particular about. So from a coaching perspective, the best recommendations to help with a bloated stomach, regardless contest, off season, so on and so forth.
Well, my usual rhetoric, which is not rhetoric, it's good, very good advice, is number one, to take a daily fiber supplement twice a day. I know that I produce the best one on the market, Fiberlize. Everyone talks about it. Everyone uses it. I don't need to push it down your throat, but you want to use a very high swell rate psyllium-based fiber supplement. Not only does it flush toxins out of your body, keep the gut emptier so that the stomach is flatter. But it also lowers LDL cholesterol. It actually helps with blood sugar control, and it feeds the gut bacteria. And that's the key, the microbiome of the intestinal tract, from small intestines to large intestines, or the colon, as we call it, the large intestines. So you want to feed those gut bacteria because those protect the lining of the GI tract. Soluble fiber is the main food source for these bacteria. They ferment it. And so taking a fiber supplement is going to be great. Sometimes reseeding the good bacteria of your colon and gut is a good idea. If you take a supplement, like I know a lot of people use the Protolyze, our protein pudding, which has 7 strains of shelf-stable probiotics in there, that reseeds the good bacteria in your colon. Another very good thing. A lot of people strip that out because of bad diet, or they have diarrhea, or they have colitis, or something like that. So putting back the good bacteria, whether you get like a product from Tren, which is a pure probiotic, or you take a product like like the Protolyze, because you can kind of do 2 things in one thing, that works well also. But lately what I've done is I've been doing research on parasite cleanses, because we all have parasites in our bodies. I mean, you can't avoid it. It's just like we have bacteria in our body, but you don't want the parasites to get out of control. And when they start growing out of control for whatever reason, because maybe the gut bacteria are not good or whatever, then what happens, you get a lot of bloating in the abdominal area for no reason a lot of times. There are natural parasite cleanses that I've done in the past, but there's some that you can now buy legally. I'm trying this one right now. It's called Power Purge, it's called, and it actually contains ivermectin in low dose, and it contains fenbendazole. And fenbendazole is a known like dewormer. They use it on dogs and horses and stuff like that. And it's actually been shown in some cases to actually reverse cancer, because they find that in cancer, a lot of the metastasis and a lot of the problems that occurs with cancer is because the immune system's not working, because there's so much parasites. There are so many parasites in the body that the immune system is so preoccupied with taking care of that it's not cleaning up the body from cancer cells. So there are some alternative type research to show that fenbendazole is really good against people who do have cancer. But that's not even what we're talking about here. Fenbendazole is a great parasite killer. So this Power Purge product that I'm using, you do it 10 days, 3 pills a day, and then you take 5 days off, and then you do it another 10 days because there's the parasites lay eggs or whatever they do, and they reproduce. You got to kill them again. And I did the first 10 days. I'm telling you, I pooped my brains out for 10 days just from taking those. I'm on the off 5 days now, and I got another 10 days to go starting tomorrow. And I think that I've noticed a difference. Not that I was really, toxic or anything like that, but I think we all every so often should do some sort of a parasite cleanse. And I'm going to go into more detail and do a separate video on it probably, because I think it's that important. And something I've never addressed, but it's something I've really looked into, and I think it makes sense. Think about it. Why do we deworm our dogs every month? You give your dogs a dewormer. There's a reason, because they build up parasites too. Well, we eat foods that have parasites in them, and we're exposed to the environment. So I think it's a good idea to every once in a while. I'm not saying you have to do it every month, but maybe once a year, do some sort of a parasite cleanse. And like I said, I'll do a separate video on that to give you more information.
Question about receptors. I've been off test for about 10 weeks now after doing 12 months on 400 mgs. How long will it take for my receptors to completely reset to get the best results when I cycle back on?
If I gave you an exact time, I'd be God. I'd be basically a psychic. It's hard to tell when, everyone's receptors will regenerate, because I think everyone's come back at different rates. But I think a good 8-week off, period off all the anabolics is probably a prudent time period to detoxify yourself and reset the receptors. I think the longer you stay off, the more they'll come back, because obviously when you have low testosterone in your body doesn't know that. It thinks it doesn't have enough androgen receptors, so it keeps producing more. There's a point where it reaches a peak, and it's not going to produce any more than that. But I think at the 8-week mark, I've seen the best results. So, from your last shot, if you get 8 weeks of nothing, and let's face it, the first 3 weeks, you're going to still have stuff in your system. So you're really only getting about a 5 or 6 week complete, removal of hormones, exogenous hormones from your body. But I think that's enough time to reset the receptors.
Let's go to VIP Lav to Core. You've always said 4 weeks PCT, 4 weeks off cycle, total 8 weeks off. Is
Mhm.
this 8 weeks off good enough for organs recovery and detox, then get back on another cycle for 6 to 8 months, or need more time off?
I think I just answered both questions in the last question, but yes, I think 8 weeks is a perfect time period to do it. 8 to 10 weeks. A lot of guys will have a little rebound for 2 weeks, where they might be on like a testosterone, one shot a week or something like that for 2 weeks. I like to go right to the off. So the quicker you start the off period, the quicker you can go back on. But some people have a little rebound for a week, so it's 8 to 10 weeks is the ideal period. Yes.
So this question is about, like we talked about, free weights versus machines, and having some sort of a routine week in and week out as far as muscle groups. Is it okay to do different exercise for each muscle every time you hit that muscle, or should you stick with the same exercise for a while before changing it up? Example, for chest, 4 exercises one day, the next workout, you do 4 different exercises, machines, etc.
I only switch up things radically like that when I feel either stagnant, in my workouts, or maybe I'm just not in the mood to do the same thing. Usually, I stick with what works. So my workouts are always pretty much incline barbell press, incline dumbbell presses, and then I decide what I want to do after that, whether it's a fly machine or cable crossovers or dumbbell flies. And then maybe I might do a hammer machine. Maybe I do the incline one week. I might do the decline hammer another week. And so the first two exercises are the most important because those are the ones that are building mass and keeping me strong. And then the other ones are the ones I play around with. Once in a blue moon, I might say, let me try flat bench today. But I'm not really a big flat bench advocate. I don't think it really, for bodybuilding purposes, I think the incline bench, or when I'm talking about incline, I'm doing like a 30-degree incline. It's not like a 45-degree incline because I think if it gets too steep, you start using too much front delt. So I say stick with what works basic exercise wise, and then you can mix up the what I call the shaping machine exercises. You can mix those up, and that because look, everyone likes to play on different machines. I do too. But I always make sure I get my free weight movements in first because that's really what's building, mass. And then I'll hit the muscle from different angles with different machines or other type exercise, shaping exercises after that. And that's when I might get more creative.
Question about it's from Excellent 187. Why is it so hard to lose post-show weight, and why does fat stick so quickly? I guess quickly being the descriptive term in this.
Um, I, I'm not really sure of the question. Why is it so hard to lose post-contest weight?
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people gain a lot of post-contest weight. I think what they gain is a lot of water weight initially. That's pretty easy to get rid of. If you're gaining a lot of fat post-workout, post-contest, you're probably doing something wrong because after you start eating after a show, your metabolism goes through the roof. I think some people I've seen competitors that I've worked with just run out of clenbuterol and T3 and just stop taking it. That's a big mistake. You want to taper up that stuff. That can cause some weight gains. Some people just stop working out and they start eating a lot of junk food. That'll make you get fat. But if you stick to working out and eating your meals, even if you're eating a couple cheat meals a day, usually you don't get fat right away. You'll get a little bloated, but your metabolism just goes crazy. And that's why you get a really nice anabolic rebound. Now, if you do that for, 3 months, 4 months, you could get fat. But usually I have yet to see a person really gain substantial fat gains if they continue on a regimented program in the 3 weeks or 4 weeks that follow a show. It's almost impossible.
Thoracic mobility. Your tips for thoracic mobility. I'm not sure if this is a topic that we really covered much on this show, but in general, your tips for thoracic mobility.
I have to be honest with you, I'm not an expert. I don't know. I don't even know what the term really means. I have to look it up.
All right. We'll go to the next one's from Holly Holmes. I got a question. Someone who, after years of taking Tren with no breaks, ended up having a kidney transplant, now off all gear and having issues with muscle wasting. He can't seem to find much information on muscle wasting. The only information he can find is in AIDS victims with muscle wasting, but he does not have AIDS. It's just he thinks the most wasting is from the kidney transplant, perhaps. He thinks GH and anavar will help. I would like to get your input on that.
Look, if you had a kidney transplant from Tren usage, which I'm assuming is because he had high blood pressure for so many years, because the Tren doesn't damage kidneys, high blood pressure does, and you're feeling like a little weak and maybe you're losing muscle, I would think an HRT dose of testosterone is definitely warranted and is safe for the kidney transplant. If you start throwing in a lot of anabolics, you're gonna stress those kidneys out, not necessarily because the anabolics are toxic to the kidneys, but because you're going to raise blood pressure, you're going to start retaining a little fluid, which raises blood pressure, and you really need to control blood pressure when you have kidney issues. And okay, even when you don't have kidney issues, so you don't get them. And then obviously, if you have a kidney transplant, you don't want to be running high blood pressure because that's going to also destroy that new kidney. So I think that's just makes sense. So don't overdo it. 100, 200 milligrams a week, whatever your body needs to get you up to a nice level of testosterone total, I think would be prudent. But I said after that, I would not start throwing in anabolics, so you're looking for trouble.
Question about pre-workouts. So many companies that sell pre-workouts, some good, some bad, some really bad. In your opinion, are they really necessary? Can you still get a good pump and a workout without taking any pre-workouts? Sometimes I think it's in our heads that we need to take a pre-workout.
Look, I once in a while I'll take a pre-workout just because I feel a little like I'm dragging a little bit, but I don't use pre-workouts and I get a great pump in the gym. I feel good. I think if you eat right before you go to the gym, you don't go in there depleted, you hydrate before you go in there, you're going to get a great workout. Do I think the pre-workouts work? Yeah, they absolutely work. You could go and get beetroot extract and buy it and just and this is what I do sometimes. I have obviously stimulants and we're coming out with it because I think people really like the stimulant or the mental focus aspect of the pre-workout more than anything. But you can go literally buy beetroot extract in a powder form, and I'll take a scoop of it and I'll put it into my my amino acids. I'll mix that and I'll drink that while I'm working out, or even right before it, I'll gulp it down. And man, I get a great pump from the beetroot extract. Really dilates those vessels. And the amino acids obviously are good. Sometimes I'll sip it during the workout. Sometimes I'll drink the whole thing if I feel like I want to get a pump. And you could do that if that's what you're looking for. I think most people like the pre-workout because it motivates them in the gym because it's got the nootropics in it. It's got a little bit of caffeine, and it helps you have a more intense workout for sure. So it really depends on what you're looking for in a pre-workout. Some people need that stimulant and mental focus. Some people just want to get a good pump. You could take a Cialis if you want to get a good pump. Before you go to the gym. But if you want to do it more naturally, try beetroot extract.
Good question here about PC. Okay, obviously PCT is a much visited topic on the show, but a good PCT routine after a debut cycle. So first time user, a good PCT routine for someone that just went on or coming off their first cycle.
PCT is pretty much generic in the sense that, whether you used a trenbolone, testosterone, EQ, and dianabol cycle, or you just took, 500 milligrams of testosterone a week, the goal is the same, to turn back on your natural testosterone production. So the PCT is exactly the same, essentially. I would tell you to do the same thing, 2,000 IUs of HCG every third day, 5 shots. That'll last 2 weeks. And then do 2 weeks of either Clomid or Nolvadex, 50 milligrams of Clomid a day, 10 milligrams of Nolvadex twice a day for 2 weeks, and then go off. It's the same protocol because it doesn't matter. Once you're off, you're off. 500 milligrams of testosterone will shut your body down just as much as a crazy 3 gram, or 4 gram a week cycle will do. So it doesn't matter. It might just take longer for the more drugs to come out of your system than a lower cycle, but the end result is the same. So you need to do the same PCT. I also have everyone who does my PC does my Testalize product with it, 3 pills twice a day from Species Nutrition, because that limits DHT and estrogen production without bottoming them out, and that helps with recovery as well. So,
take one more question. This one about site injection. How to get rid of lumps formed in shoulders, specifically shoulder area, from site injections?
If they're fresh, you can massage them out. If they're there for 3 years already, then they're probably not going anywhere. They're probably scar tissue, that's not going away. Yeah, I have a couple of bumps and lumps, throughout my, in my shoulders and in my arms a little bit. Just, not nothing big, but sometimes you just get a bad shot, or you went in that area too much and you created a little scar tissue. If it's just swelling from the injection site, that can be, like I said, a good massage will strip that out of there. But once they get to be really hard and like, calcified over, or scar tissued over, you're not going to get rid of those things.
So I want to squeeze one more question. Do you have time or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Mhm.
I need to keep working before I can retire. Some degenerative disease give me joint pain. If I wanted to use DECA year round, what will be a good protocol? I don't mind the loss of libido. By the way, I'm a 60-year-old man.
One more time, Sid.
So he wants to know, if he were to use DECA year round, what would be a good protocol? Says that he's got some degenerative disease. It gives him
Right.
joint pain. He doesn't mind the loss of libido, so a good protocol
Oh.
for DECA year round.
I think that, if it sounds like he's like a guy who would be on hormone replacement, like 100, 200 milligrams of testosterone a week. I would just add 100 milligrams of DECA in there. Believe me, you get the anti-inflammatory effect from a very low dose of DECA. You don't need a lot of it to get the anti-inflammatory. You might not get the muscle building effect that you get from 600 milligrams of DECA a week, but you're going to get an anti-inflammation effect from 100 to 200 milligrams. So I'd keep it in that range, so the side effects will be lower, but yet it's something you can stay on for a longer period of time. 100 milligrams a week might be ideal.
And that's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't already done so, subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you're not going to miss any of our shows, any of our upcoming videos, anything that we have going on this channel. Right now on the channel, only episode of After Hours, and of course, Sunday night's episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. And yes, Dave will do a full response video to the new Fit Model Division announced yesterday by the NPC. So whatever concerns, questions, comments, comment below, and perhaps Dave will answer them in that full response video. For Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.